Good evening from Headingley, the first home game for Leeds in this Stones-bitter Centenary season. A truncated season, of course, because the Super League starting next March, and so we've got a lot of fixtures to be played in a short space of time, and Warrington certainly know about that in these coming few days. Well, the Leeds side tonight: Alan Tate at fullback, the three quarters Jim Fallon, Kevin Iro, Phil Hassan and Paul Cook. The halfbacks Tony Kemp, and a return to the starting lineup of Gary Schofield at scrum half. The forwards, the front row, Neil Harmon, James Lowes and Nick Fozzard. The second row, Gary Mercer and George Mann, with Mike Forshaw at loose forward. And of course, now we have four substitute players in each side. Number 14, Dave Gibbons, 15, Francis Cummins, 16, Adrian Morley, and 17, Mike Shaw. And Leeds come out onto the field amidst the roar of their supporters, led out by skipper Gary Schofield.
Thanks very much, Stan. My name's Jim Kidd. I'm the Warrington commentator. I'll try and be as unbiased and objective as I always am. And as Stan said, it is the actual fixtures at the moment are rather ridiculous. Warrington playing now their fourth game in 10 days, and their fifth game in a fortnight will be on Sunday at Central Park. Warrington have had Bradford, Leeds and Wigan away within a week, so I'm not awfully sure that the fixture list has been done correctly this year. And the pitch at the moment looks absolutely superb here at Headingley. It's always a marvellous ground to commentate from. It's a good view. One of the old rugby league grounds, of course, one of the homes of rugby league. And the wire side, it's much changed from the team which beat Oldham by 40 points to 8 on Sunday. In fact, Brian Johnson gives a number of the A-teamers their chance. At fullback, it's a welcome return to Lee Penny. And the three-quarter line, Jason Lee, Iestyn Harris. Good to see Iestyn Harris in the centre position. I'd like to see him play centre or stand-off. Jonathan Davis, the Warrington skipper, at number 4, partnered by Mark Foster. And the half-backs, Paul Sculthorpe, who's had some rave reviews from the A-team and played exceptionally well when he gets his first-team chance as well, in the stand-off berth, and Kelly Shelford at scrum half. And the front row for Warrington, Mark Jones, Phil Bennett and Phil Sumner. And Phil Sumner, of course, appears tomorrow before the Rugby League Disciplinary Committee at Chapeltown Road in Leeds. Paul Cullen at number 11, and Bruce Maguire partners him in the second row, and Mike Wainwright, who really is a revelation in the number 13 jersey, at loose forward. And certainly two A-teamers tonight who are getting the chance: Graham Cole at 14 and Ian Knott at 15. One or two really good reports about this lad Ian Knott in the local paper. Dave King, the recent Australian signing for Warrington, at 16, and Gary Chambers at number 17. And we're looking forward to a really good game. I've never seen a bad game at Leeds. I'm sure there have been plenty of them, but I've never seen one at all. And it's going to be Leeds to kick off to Warrington, and as I said before, the pitch is in absolutely tip-top condition. Apparently they've got pop-up sprinklers, as Wigan have got here, and it looks to me like a snooker table at the moment. It's marvellous to see as Leeds get the game underway, and the ball in the hands immediately of the Warrington left winger Mark Foster. Scored 3 tries on his the opening game against London Broncos. Warrington throwing the ball around inside their own 20. Dangerous thing to do in the opening few minutes of the game. Andy Bennett complaining to the referee, but have none of that. Jones comes in. Tremendous tackle on Jones there by Mike Forshaw, ex-Wigan, I believe. Andy Bennett himself. A little bit of a run from Bennett. Shelford in the dummy half berth, and that's Mike Wainwright, but the Leeds players coming in. That was Neil Harmon with a copybook tackle for any schoolboys watching this video. And Jonathan Davis, the first kick of the game, up in the air it goes to Alan Tate, and a chance for Stan to get into the action.
Tate, yes, running it out. Obviously, Leeds now have got to set up a position where they can perhaps give their supporters hope after that disappointing display against Castleford. Jim Fallon takes it into the centre field and is immediately dumped down to the ground by Warrington tacklers. Leeds moving it out quickly to the left, but the Warrington tacklers are there to take advantage and stop the Leeds getting anything. Looked like it could have been a knock-on. Referee David Campbell agrees with my assumption there, and it was unfortunate there that number 10, Nick Fozzard, knocked it on there. So we're going to scrum down. Warrington's head and ball.
Thanks very much, Stan. So it's fairly even Steven in the opening couple of minutes of the game. Interested to see how Paul Sculthorpe plays in the standoff berth. Lee Penny in the action straight away to try and make the extra man. midway between the 20 and the halfway line, and that's Paul Cullen, the ever-present Paul Cullen. Goodness knows how long he's been with Warrington, but certainly he signed, I think, when he was 16 years of age from Beauclerk Grammar School, my old school. Warrington throwing the ball around. That's Mike Wainwright. They're not making too much ground at the moment. About 10 yards short of the 20. That's Phil Sumner. Good to see Phil Sumner back in the Warrington ranks. Shelford, kick ahead by Shelford into space. And it's knocked on, in fact. That was Jason Lee, he was right there. I don't think he was offside, actually, Stan, but he knocked the ball on. It was a very good kick, in fact, by Shelford. And that was a chance, really, for Warrington. The packs go down. It's good to see Gary Schofield back in the Leeds colours as well.
And it's Schofield to feed the ball onto the blind side, and they've got to run it out of their own quarter, out of that danger area, underneath their own post, to set up this, perhaps a good attacking move. That's trying to feed to Iro. Kevin, who wasn't able to seem to hold the ball so much against Castleford last week. Now Leeds trying to make the break with number 11, Gary Mercer, and he wants to add to his tries. He made 14 not last season. He'd like to get 15, I think, this season. Now Leeds moving it out onto the left-hand side. There's another knock on there, Warrington, and wasn't a bad pass there by Kemp, but it wasn't taken by Forshaw. And again, Warrington scrum down just outside the Leeds 20-metre mark, a chance to get on the attack again.
That was an unforced error, the second one by Leeds, as Lee Penny goes forward, taken out by his opposite number, Alan Tate, who comes up to meet him. I think Forshaw there was concerned with the Warrington player coming towards him and not taking the ball. Paul Cullen. Neither side making too much ground at the moment, but Warrington have had really actual territory, more than Leeds have got. That's a dangerous pass there. It's taken eventually by Penny, loses the ball, and Jason Lee does as well. So it's a chapter of accidents at the moment, and it looked to me as in fact as if that pass from Kelly Shelford to Penny was forward anyway. The referee right on the spot, so it's going to be Leeds head and ball again. So unforced errors at the moment, but it's still the opening 5 minutes of the game, and nobody really has taken any advantage as yet.
Unforced errors, as you say, Jim, and I think that's the case. I think both sides want to settle down, and now here's a break now and there's going to be a try, and it's number 5, Paul Cook, coming to the crowd, but a good tackle there by number 2, Jason Lee, cuts him off. And now Jim Fallon picks the ball up, looking for support. It's there, but he decides to go on his own, and there's a penalty. I think a caught offside. So a chance now for Leeds to put the first points on the board. A quick play the ball by Paul Cook there, and although the referee, I think, went to play advantage, he decided then that Warrington had not got onside, and so it's a chance for Paul Cook to give his side lead. Playing instead of Francis Cummins tonight. It seems strange that Francis Cummins was taking the goal kicks earlier in the previous 2 games, and that Paul Cook, who's coming off the bench to take his place in the starting lineup, is also going to take the goal kicks. Instructions being passed out onto the field by the Leeds players to one another. But that was a fine break by Paul Cook, but an equally good tackle by Jason Lee. So we've had 5 minutes, and Paul Cook a chance to give Leeds a 2-0 lead. The first point scored at Headingley in this season, this centenary season of rugby league. And he makes no mistake with that, right in the middle. So Leeds lead by 2 points to 0. It'll be Warrington to kick off, but Leeds should get the ball back unless they put one of these clever kicks in. Certainly Jonathan Davis is equal to that, of putting his clever, he's using his rugby union expertise by putting these kicks which go about just over the 10 metres, which puts his side within offside and puts the ball in play again. So Warrington in there, what might be termed their away strip, I suppose we could call it, the green and white hoops. Kicks down to the Leeds side, taken by Kemp. And now here comes number 11, Gary Mercer, up to the 20-metre mark. James Lowes, a former Hunslet player, goes to acting half-back, and a good tackle there puts Mike Forshaw down, but he's made it over the Leeds 20-metre mark. Now Leeds trying to make it. Neil Harmon, another ex-Warrington player. He'll enjoy tonight, playing against his old club. A break down the middle, a half break, but again the Warrington tacklers come in, and the defence is firm. This will test the Warrington. If Leeds can hold the ball for 6 tackles, it's George Mann, former St Helens player. Now here he comes to Kemp, and Kemp kicks it down into the Warrington left-hand corner. Is going to be picked up by Mark Foster.
Thanks very much, Stan, and Foster comes out, but he's taken out immediately by the Leeds skipper Gary Schofield. Really first blood to Leeds. That really was a tremendous break from Paul Cook. What was even more remarkable, that Jason Lee came from the right wing across the field to tackle him. And that's Mark Jones. Warrington are going to find it difficult to win here tonight. Having said that, they've opened up fairly brightly, but as yet no real breaks at all. We're looking for Schoolthorpe to see whether he can work some of his magic centre field. That's Mike Wainwright trying to get the ball away. Does do so onto Schoolthorpe himself. He runs immediately into James Lowes and George Mann. That's the last tackle, so Warrington really have only made about 20 yards in this play, and we're looking for Jonathan Davis, and there he is, one up in the air again. Kicking for position, and it's so difficult when a rugby ball bounces, but Alan Tate eventually takes it extremely well.
Yeah, he's trying to get his, I suppose, his right winger on the move there, Jonathan Davis, but I think it was too near Tate. Now Leeds running it out with Paul Cook. Jim Fallon now sets off on a run across field. Leeds crowd already getting on their side. They lead 2-0. Now again, it's George Mann again. Now Leeds switch it to this near side. To Gary Schofield. A switch there by number 11, Gary Mercer, running into the gap. And the last tackle coming up now, and the kick goes out to Kemp. Puts a low kick in. And again, Warrington will have no difficulty in collecting this. In fact, it's Lee Penny who nearly dropped the ball.
Fortunately, it went behind him, but Lee Penny did well to recover. He's still going. He's not making too much ground forward, but a lovely break onto Lee. Lee's still going centre field. Marvellous break by Jason Lee, showing a clean pair of peels. Mark Jones this time at dummy half. Onto Shelford. Shelford eventually to Schoolthorpe. Moves inside. And it's onto Yestin Harris. Haven't seen anything of Yestin Harris as yet. Plays the ball very quickly indeed, but that really was a nice break from Lee. Phil Sumner, a bit ponderous, but he breaks the Leeds half. And again onto Kelly Shelford. And Warrington really throwing the ball around well. That's Mark Jones, difficult to put down. Warrington have made some good yardage forward. Schoolthorpe again, moving the ball along. Shelford, a long pass onto Davis. Davis eventually onto Penny. Penny getting the ball away, eventually onto Cullen, onto Mark Foster. Foster going for the corner, is he going to score? The referee right on the spot, and he's given the try. So it's the opening try here at Headingley. A good try, in fact, by Mark Foster, the Warrington left winger. Some really superb interpassing centre field. The ball eventually in the arms of Kelly Shelford, who threw a lovely long pass out onto Penny. Penny did exceptionally well as Leeds players were surrounding him almost to turn round, hand the ball away, and eventually the ball in the hands of Mark Foster. And that try with 10 yards to go still had to be scored, and Foster just squeezed in at the corner. So Warrington go into the lead by 4 points to 2, and that really was some very good rugby league indeed, and some very good interpassing centre field, Sam. But superb conditions here tonight, not too much wind to speak of, but it's going to be a hard kick for Jonathan Davis, but he's kicked them from here before. Takes the kick now. What a marvellous goal kick by Jonathan Davis. Warrington go into the lead by 6 points to 2 with a superb try just in the corner by Mark Foster. And Foster, of course, opened his account very well last year, and this year too, with 3 tries in the opening game against London Broncos. But that really was a lovely kick from Jonathan Davis, and the wide in the lead by 6 points to 2. A little bit, I would say, against the run of play. Having said that, the Warrington forward centre field were knocking 1 or 2 holes in the Leeds defence. And as Stan said, that the Leeds players appear to be backing off somewhat. Taken well by Shelford. Onto the try scorer, Mark Foster, trying to get out the 20. And Foster still going, still moving forward. A missed tackle there by Kevin Ido. Leeds management won't like that, I don't think. Tick on the Warrington 20. So Warrington beginning to come into their own. With only 12 minutes gone, however, there's a lot of time left in this game, but Warrington really are now beginning to make ground forward. That's Mike Wainwright, and the Leeds forwards found a little bit wanting there as Wainwright spins round and gets out of a couple of tackles. Bennett onto Paul Cullen, ball lost. Gary Mercer, is this going to be an end-to-end try from Mercer? Bennett's going towards him, Mercer's going for the corner. Mercer surely will score, but no. A superb tackle coming in from Kelly Shelford, and that was a mistake by Warrington that nearly led to a try by Leeds. Gary Mercer did exceptionally well, but he was shattered for about 20 yards there by Kelly Shelford. He just managed to put him in touch just at the corner, but Leeds were unlucky there, Stan.
Yeah, I think one of the backs, Schofield or Cooker, got the ball. It would definitely have been a try, but he's made a lot of ground. He's going to put Warrington on the defence, even though they've got head and ball, so it's going to be Shelford to put the ball in. Referee getting them onside.
So Wyatt again inside their own 20, a bit of a let-off there, but having said that, it was a very good tackle, but Warrington lose the ball right in front of the posts. An unforced error. We've seen so many unforced errors by the Wire side, and again it's that man Bruce Maguire who really does play his heart out for Warrington, but on the odd occasion, certainly last year, his handling was found lacking.
Yes, Bruce Maguire's seen it all. Internationals, state of origin games. Used to play with Balmain and Sheffield Eagles. Now here at Warrington. Now Leeds heel that scrum. And Schofield, nobody moving up really. Kemp trying to miss men out, but Tate. And Leeds lose ground on the first tackle. Now Fallon. Schofield moves inside. He's on his own. Nobody goes with him. Puts it back to Tate, who's still out on the wing. But rather than go into touch, he goes down on the ground. Again, this time it's Mercer. Long ball out, and has it caught Warrington out? Hasn't, because Forshaw moves back inside, and if they'd moved it outside, perhaps the opening was there. James Lowe's now. Leeds are back virtually where the scrum took place, and they've had 5 tackles. Schofield, high kick. It's going to bounce end over end. It's going to be taken. Oh, good take there. Has he lost the ball? No. And the referee has given a scrum down. Given a scrum down. It'll be Leeds head and ball. 10 metres out now. Well, they didn't make any ground on the last scrum in the tackles. Let's see if they can make it. Come blind with Kemp. Iro back to Kemp. Iro tries to burst through a gap. Tries to get the ball away, decides to keep it in, down he goes. And they come again with Schofield. And it's a good one, right, a good tackle there on Tate. But aside, there's going to be a penalty to Leeds. I don't know if that was offside. Looked like offside. He's pointed to the Warrington players who did not, and Leeds are going to take a tap. But if not careful, Neil Harmon will find himself offside. Nick Fozzard, young Nick Fozzard, teenager, makes his into the Warrington attacking part now for Leeds now. Forshaw and 3 Warrington tacklers meet him. He's not going to get far in that. Now Schofield, so much at the heart of Leeds players, but a bad pass there, and it bounces off the chest of Gary Mercer, and Warrington gratefully sees possession.
And Leeds really, I think, let 1 or 2 chances go begging there, Stan, because I really think that they should have scored from that position, certainly on 2 occasions. But the forwards appear to be a little bit at 6s and 7s, and some of the passing from Schofield is very slow this evening, and it's allowing the Warrington tacklers to move up at pace from the play of the ball. But that's Kelly Shelford, centre field, long pass on to Davis. Davis still going, eventually taken out by Gary Mercer with a bear hug, a New Zealand bear hug from the ex-Warrington favourites. It's Mike Wainwright, and I think Leeds are going to have to certainly to stiffen up the tackle in centre field, because Warrington are making quite a bit of ground. Mark Jones, push back, helped out there by 2 Warrington players, but Warrington have weathered the storm somewhat. On again to Jonathan Davis to keep Leeds penned down inside their own 20 if that's possible. The ball taken this time by Cook, who had such a marvellous break after 2 or 3 minutes play.
And Warrington offside, so Leeds will put the penalty into touch somewhere possibly round about the halfway line, and put themselves on the attack again. But as Jim say, the tackling is not so good. You should run up and meet the players who are coming towards you with the ball. You lessen the chance of them getting at top speed then. Short halfway line, and Forshaw takes it into the Warrington half. Now can Leeds build on this? They're behind 4-2 at the moment. But again, it's number 12, and that's George Mann. Now Forshaw turns it back inside to Gary Mercer. Gary Mercer wanted to lob it over the top of the Warrington players, but wasn't certain whether he could. That stage now, Schofield. Kent. Tate through the gap, unfortunately, or fortunately probably for Warrington, Harris Haber half tackled him. Now here comes the pass again inside to number 12, George Mann. But this is the last tackle. Mercer goes to Schofield. He was signalling what he was going to do with the ball before it even come to him. And it's taken beautifully by Lee Penny once again.
And that was a difficult ball to take, and Penny did superbly well, surrounded by Leeds players there. Good kick from Mercer as well, only about 10 yards forward, but it caused problems. That's Yestin Harris. Plays the ball very quickly indeed, and Leeds not really running at the Warrington attackers. That's Bennett, another wholehearted player. Always gives 100% when he puts the Warrington jersey on, but it is rather strange to see Warrington playing in these green and white hoops. The old Warrington strip of the white and the primrose and blue they've started to play with again at home, but it's a strange Warrington side in green and white. It's Jim Fallon trying to get out the 20. What a superb tackle by Sculthorpe on Jim Fallon.
Could have been penalised there for moving off the mark as well, but Tate marvellously well there to get ball out to Cook. They're trying to get round Jason Lee, but can't. Last season, Leeds won this fixture 30 points to 0. Well, it's not going to be that scoreline tonight. Schofield looking for support. There's nobody running with him. In fact, they're running in front of him. And he's looking back at his players. But this time, Kemp to Iro. Iro, he's got nobody outside him. In fact, Fallon had gone inside then, but he couldn't have got the ball to him anyway. Kemp, last tackle, and the kick into the 25, a rolling ball. This time Penny lets it go dead, so it'll be a tap on the 20-metre mark.
But Leeds, I think, a little bit out of sorts tonight. Certainly centre field, 6s and 7s. May well be the Warrington tacklers are moving up so quickly. It means the ball goes loose on the odd occasion, but they're not playing up to the true form, I don't think, Leeds at the moment. That's Sculthorpe coming in like a forward, and of course normally does play in the pack. Plays in the second row, but playing in the stand-off berth tonight. That's Neil Sumner. The Warrington pack appear to have a little bit more momentum about them than they did against Oldham. Having said that, it was a 40 points to 6 victory on Sunday, but not a particularly good performance, I don't think, from Warrington. And they're making ground now at will as they break into the Leeds half of the field. That's Shelford again. Kick ahead by Shelford. Warrington using the kicking game to very good effect in the opening 20 minutes. They're tending to keep Leeds pinned down inside their own 20. And I'm looking at an injury possibly to the Warrington blindside prop forward Mark Jones, though he's okay now. Certainly the Warrington physio came on to tend to him. And the packs are going down very slowly indeed. And of course coaches like the pack to go down first. And which team is it going to be? And it's probably Leeds, I would think.
And Leeds head should win the ball. Yes, Mark Jones, the big signing from Hull. Great Britain international and a Welshman. Well, that kick by Shelford, he saw that Fallon was out of position and put the ball deep, and it went into touch inside the 20-metre area. But he's now Iro trying to get out, and these tackled. I've noticed that Warrington are not trying to tackle him upstairs, but tackle him by his ankles, and you can't run without your legs. Leeds look coming out now of their own 20-metre area and towards the halfway line, but certainly not making the ground that Warrington do when Warrington got the ball. Now Schofield, a lob pass there, and oh dear, but luckily Fallon was there first to the ball, but everybody stood and watched and waited, and that's the last kick. So good kick by Tate, and he didn't like the challenge onto him, and in fact it was Jonathan Davis. I saw nothing wrong with it.
Nothing at all, really. as Jason Lee comes out. Not so much of a chase from Leeds either. I don't wish to be biased tonight, I never would be, but it's not. Leeds look to me a little bit out of sorts. May well be they'll click into gear shortly and Warrington will be on the end of a landslide, but the way Warrington are playing at the moment, they fully deserve, I think, the 6 points to 2 lead. Having said that, an unforced error, and it's Alan Tate bringing the ball away. Eventually goes into Foster, and the Warrington sub on looks like Dave King, I think, has come on.
Big Dave King, who came from Huddersfield, London Broncos, and I think from the Gold Coast in Australia. But it's Leeds on the attack trying to get the ball away, but it was George Mann there, his arms were pinned. Now the ball at Schofield again, and how they've got to rely on Schofield. Kevin Iro, but it takes 3 Warrington players to knock him down, and I think Leeds have got to get their game together now. Too much of these long lob passes. Kicked by Kemp high into the night sky. It bounces, and Leeds get it back, and there's a chance now for Cook. Cuts inside, looking for support. Mike Forshaw, and Mike Forshaw touches down, and that all started, Jim, with a kick by Kemp, and nobody went for it until it had bounced. And the criminal sin is you never let the ball bounce. Warrington did. Leeds were there to the ball first. Cook looked as though he was going to score, but he saw the cover was coming in, put the ball to Forshaw, and Forshaw touched down at the side of the post. And I think you'll be disappointed with the Warrington defence on that occasion.
Without a doubt, I think Warrington committed there, as you said quite rightly, Stan, the cardinal offence. Nobody went for that ball at all. Jason Lee and Kelly Shelford just watched it bounce, and if a rugby ball bounces, there are problems. But eventually the ball was in the hands of Cook, who handed on, was it Mike Forshaw that scored, Stan? Mike Forshaw on his right-hand shoulder. A fairly straightforward kick, although it's easy to say that from the gantry. And it's 8 points to 6, with 24 minutes gone. And I think, Stan, a good game in prospect here, but that certainly, to my mind, was against the run of play.
I think so. Leeds got away with a pass on their own 20-metre mark, which fell on, and that started the move off, didn't it, really? So it'll be Warrington to kick off. Not in any hurry to... The other way, they're losing 8 points to 6. But again, Leeds, if you take your chances, if you don't take your chances, you don't deserve to win, I suppose. That's the old adage. Davis, a good kick taken by Kemp. Now it's Gary Mercer. And Gary Mercer up to the 20-metre mark. Fallon runs inside over that 20-metre line, and Leeds, providing they don't make any unforced errors, they can do it. Neil Harmon, and he's crunched down by the Warrington tacklers. Kemp going to kick, and it's not the 6th tackle, and that's a good kick. Is it going to bounce into touch? It's bouncing near the line, but Foster's going back for it, and he should run it out quite easily before the Leeds tacklers get to him.
Foster does well, gets out of the 20. Taken out eventually by Kevin Iro, and Warrington really have shadowed Kevin Iro well tonight. That's Dave King going forward. Loses the ball. And Leeds back in possession, but the ball going all over the place. That's George Mann spinning the ball on eventually to Alan Tate. But Leeds now in possession, just 10 yards outside the Warrington 20. Schofield, certainly Leeds have got more heart now, and very often when a side scores a try, it seemed to spur them on a little bit. Mike Forshaw, the try scorer, and what a superb tackle on him by Sculthorpe. That's Leeds still inside the Warrington 20. Going to move the ball along, it's onto Schofield. Surely a long pass from Schofield. Went in the arms of Tony Kemp. It's onto Iro. Iro still going, but Warrington take him down. And as Stan said very well before, that Warrington are not looking to clamp the ball where Iro's concerned. They're attempting to put him down immediately because he's a very, very good runner indeed. Is this going to be another one up in the air? It's Schofield. Yes, it certainly is. He's going to go over the try line, I think. Taken well by Lee. He's got to run it out, and he runs it out beautifully. And he just escapes the clutches, I think, of I think it was George Mann, but eventually George Mann doubles back and takes him out. But that was danger signs again for Warrington, but Lee was there just on the Warrington try line and managed to make a good 22, 23 yards forward. Did exceptionally well for the wide outfit. Dave King, who lost possession, still going forward. Another big rangy forward is Dave King. Warrington good that they're very pleased that they've got him on the books. Paul Cullen. Warrington do appear to be making quite a lot of ground forward. That's a penalty. Paul Cullen certainly trying to get a penalty, but the referee gave him one anyway. The odd occasion, I wouldn't say Paul Cullen cons the referee, but he does have a bit of a laugh and a joke now and again. But certainly that was a good decision by Mr. Campbell from Widnes. Warrington 2 points down, want to try and get another try. That's Sumner coming in there with real momentum inside the 20. Andy Bennett, use of the narrow side here. It's Mike Wainwright trying to thread his way through. It's on to Sumner again. Sumner still moving forward. And there are huge gaps in the Leeds defence at the moment. They're going to have to cover them very quickly indeed. That's on to Shelford. Shelford spins around, the ball goes loose. On to Paul Cullen again, but Leeds have pushed Warrington back well. The Leeds tackling certainly has stiffened up. Sculthorpe going to, in fact, a kick by Sculthorpe with much too much weight on it. So the score still remains 8 points to 6, and it's a tap on the 20.
Well, if Warrington have got a lot of new names, a lot of faces I've never seen in rugby league, they're playing their hearts out. And at the moment, I would say it's even Steven, even though Leeds are leading by 8 points to 6. Now they go towards the halfway line. That was Fozzard who made that half break there. On to number 12, George Mann. Now Schofield, this time it's not a long pass. It starts to Neil Harmon. And I think he'll do, but shows it to Schofield. Now what can Schofield do? He's on his own. He puts the ball down. He tried to pass it. Support earlier, perhaps Leeds would have scored there, but the support was late in coming. Trying to get the ball out, only succeeding at the low one. Now Warrington lose that ball, and it's dived on gratefully by Leeds just outside the Warrington 20-metre mark. Now it's George Mann trying to zigzag his way into that 20-metre area and to put Leeds on the attack again. Well, this is another test for the Warrington defence as Forsyth takes it on, but Warrington equal to that test. Lows again, Kemp, now to Iro, and Iro's still going. How he got out of the first tackle I will never know. And now they're moving it left. Kemp has to wait for it because it wasn't a good pass. Tries to go through the gap, throws it back. Now Leeds, it's Schofield. Underneath the player. Now here comes Alan Tate, he's got a chance. Tries to sidesteps one player, and then he's knocked down 10 metres out. Leeds going on. James Lowes, former Hunslet player. So what will happen now? Will there be a high kick? Will Leeds keep possession to try and run it and catch Warrington with the last 6 tackle? Now here comes Fozzard. He's got support, but that's the 6th tackle, and that'll be the first changeover of the game.
Yes, it is, and it has been really a very, very good game to watch tonight. Exceptional game of rugby league. It's been end to end. Some good handling from both sides, and I've got a feeling now that Leeds are getting stronger. I was just in front of the camera then. They certainly don't want to see me on the video. Leeds are certainly getting stronger. I think there's an injury there to Jonathan Davis. The Warrington trainer's on the field, so it's going to be Kelly Shelford, who can kick just as well. Certainly from his hands anyway. Leeds are getting stronger. I think Warrington are going to have to calm this game down a little bit. Dave King comes in, that's Fallon. And it's also Kevin Iro to put him down. Sumner. Bit of an altercation, I think, between King and Fallon and Iro there, but the touch judge doesn't get himself involved. And that's Bruce Maguire. Had a fairly quiet game tonight, Bruce Maguire. I haven't seen too much of him. Kelly Shelford. On to Jonathan Davis. Jonathan Davis spinning around. Sidesteps, of course, up either foot. Paul Cullen at dummy half. And that's Mike Wainwright. He really does thread his way through the defence. Paul Cullen again. Some very good play centre field from the Warrington forwards. On again to Bennett. Warrington still spinning the ball around. One up in the air this time by Davis. That's going to be a difficult one to take. Taken, in fact, exceptionally well, but it's that's going to be another turnover. Warrington player took that ball, in fact. So it's Leeds back in possession. And that's Hassan.
Hassan Iro down here on this near side, receiving treatment, rolling on the floor with an ankle injury, what looks to be an ankle injury, as Leeds make their way out of their own danger area and to put Warrington on the defensive again. Schofield with that long pass, and George Mann again slips inside, and it's Hassan trying to get out. Iro gets up gingerly on this side as Leeds make up towards the halfway. It's Forshaw. Kick there, and that is a good kick, certainly by a player who I suppose doesn't really kick the ball, because that was James Lowe's, and that was a good kick. So it's a go to scrum down on the 10 metres in from the touchline, and it'll be Warrington head and ball.
Kevin Iro with some kind of a leg injury, we think. We don't like to see any injuries, of course, in our game, and particularly not to a man of the class of Kevin Iro. Jim Fallon does exceptionally well there to keep hold of Mark Foster. About 7 minutes to go here at Headingley before to the break. Leeds in the lead by 8 points to 6, but neither side's had it all their own way. It's been a very good end-to-end game of rugby league. I think in the last 10 minutes or so, Leeds have got stronger, and certainly centre field, Schofield is starting to make his presence felt. Leeds, of course, always a very difficult side to beat, particularly at Headingley. Maguire still in possession, making ground inexorably forward. That's Maguire. He runs into Sumner, in fact. Sumner on his right-hand shoulder, his right shoulder. Shelford again, throws the ball along, goes nowhere. Going to be dangerous. Jason Lee puts one up in the air. It doesn't go anywhere either. Eventually taken out by Cullen. Penalty, offside. Good decision by the referee. We can certainly see that Jason Lee stand's got a lot of pace, but he can't kick that well, I don't think.
Well, he probably can kick, but he can't pick a pace. But out to Fallon, and have a feeling there that Iro should have kept the ball and gone on the inside. At least it wouldn't have put Fallon under pressure. But Fallon is not having a bad game defensive-wise, really. It's good tackle on Mark Foster a few moments ago, the former Bath Rugby Union player. Obviously not getting down correctly, or perhaps pushing off the mark, I don't know there, Jim. But to Warrington, chance to get on the attack again with a Jonathan Davis penalty.
Yeah, I think Iro made a mistake there, son. I think you were quite right, and I think he knew the moment he'd released Fallon that Fallon was going to go into touch. Dave King. Warrington would like to get some more points on the board just before half-time, and they're looking good for it. That's Sumner knocking a huge hole there in the Leeds defence. And Warrington going to have to spin the ball around. It's on to Shelford again. Crossing, good decision by the referee. Offside decision. So Leeds, I think, breathed a sigh of relief, because Warrington were looking good there for a try. But it's about 36 minutes gone, with about 4 minutes to go, we think, to the break. And Leeds coming out the 20. Iro on his own. Still moving forward. Well played by Iro. Still going. This is the Kevin Iro we know. And he loses the ball. The ball goes back, says the referee, Mr. Campbell. And Leeds have got an overlap here on the left-hand side. Is Mercer going to go on his own? Eventually releases Cook. Cook's still going, showing a fine turn of speed, but the ball lost. And to be honest with you, that really deserved a try, because Leeds must have had a 5-to-1 overlap, I think, on the left-hand side of the field. Mercer, I think, should have released the ball earlier, decided not to do so, and Warrington defence breathes a sigh of relief again. And this really is an excellent game, and a good sign of an excellent game, really, is a referee not too much in evidence, hasn't had too much to do, only given about 5 or 6 penalties, we think. That's Dave King going forward, gets the ball eventually onto Maguire. Maguire releases Bennett, and Bennett put down there, 7 or 8 yards in from touch, 10 yards inside the Leeds half of the field. On to Shelford. Shelford to Sculthorpe. Warrington moving the ball along well. That's Jason Lee, centre field, trying to escape the tacklers. But it was Nick Fozzard that eventually put him down. And it's Sculthorpe again, going on his own, trying to get the ball away. Does so onto the hands of Jonathan Davis, eventually again to Mike Wainwright. But the Leeds tackler's doing well at the moment, tackling very well indeed, centre field. That's the last tackle. We're going to look for Jonathan Davis, I think. No, it's going to be Shelford. Surely Shelford will put one up in the air. He does do so, but eventually taken out there by Tony Kemp, so Leeds back in possession. And Warrington looking for the try, and it nearly came, but not quite. Alan Tate, and a very good break there from Tate.
Relieving pressure on the Leeds defensive part of the pitch, and Fallon now running into midfield. Tries to get away from the tackles and can't. Schofield, a bit too close there. And number 12, George Mann, takes it on. Phil Hassan. And now Warrington, it's Warrington's turn to defend. Warrington coming inside now. Leeds, and a drop ball, would you believe, again? Unforced error. Passing, I suppose, before he's really got the ball set in his hands. Now Warrington now, a chance now with Maguire. Maguire to Shelford, and Shelford to Wainwright. It hits his legs. The referee says that's over, that's Sculthorpe. And Sculthorpe is taken down. And we're inside the Leeds half. Now we're coming up to half time. And Warrington would dearly love to get points on the board. It will put them back in front to try. In fact, we're in the last minute on my watch of the game. But again, Bennett, this effervescent hooker, always seems to want to be in the game, wanting the ball. Dave King turns, gets it out now to Mark Jones. Is it Mark Jones? No, it's Phil Sumner. Now Shelford puts a kick in. He's taken by Fallon, and he gets out. Now Fallon into the break now. He's got Iro on his outside, but he's not seen him. He's not seen Iro well. No. And Schofield arms out, and Fallon still going. Puts the ball out now to Cook. And Cook now, and Leeds are looking at the Warrington defence of 6 and 7. Now it's Cook. It's Cook. He's going to score in the corner. And just on half-time, Cook scores. And I think that Leeds, perhaps Fallon, he got both Iro and Schofield with him. They decided to, for some reason, not to pass the ball. And then Cook somehow got into the match and finished off the try scoring. And from Warrington looking as though they were dangerous to score a try. Leeds go and sweep to the other end with that Fallon break.
And certainly Cook has got a real turn of speed on the left wing, but Fallon really should have handed the ball on to Schofield much earlier. And Schofield was screaming for the ball, and it looked to me at one point as if Fallon would in fact be tackled, but he managed to double back about 3 times. He certainly sidestepped the referee twice, to my knowledge, eventually handed the ball on, and the ball was in the arms of Cook. But I think Fallon there showed a little bit of rugby league inexperience, actually, and I think Schofield should have had that ball certainly on the halfway line.
Possibly so. Words probably spoken at half-time. Cook's kick towards a post, and it's there. A magnificent kick from the touchline. One couldn't tell from here if it was over, but the flags from the touch, and there goes the hooter for half-time. So 14 points to 6, and Leeds after that early Cook goal going 2-0 up. A try by Mark Foster, goal by Davies, put Warrington back in front after 12 minutes, but then Forshaw with a try, Cook a goal, and then Cook a try, which he converted himself at half-time, and it's 14-6. Well, what can you say about that? I think that going to be a lot said in the Warrington dressing room about that. There might also be a lot said in the Leeds dressing room also at half-time. 14 points to 6 in favour of Leeds.
Good time to score that, yes.
The bed in the last minute.
Yes. That's right.
The team's coming back onto the field for the second half here at Headingley. 14-6 to Leeds. Warrington a little bit more to do. Leeds know they've got that little bit of a cushion because Warrington have to score twice now to get in front. But looking round the Leeds side, they'll have had words. Of course, the coach, Dean Bell, arrives this week from Australia or New Zealand because he's been playing with Auckland Warriors, but he has stated that he's not going to play now. He's just going to coach the side at the moment. His assistant, Hugh McGann, the former Kiwi international, in charge of the side. And one remembers that they led 18-12 at half-time against Castleford and lost that game. So they'll be hoping that he won't go. So Warrington will be to kick off this second half on a night probably ideal for rugby league, and certainly a pitch ideal for rugby league as well. One feels on this Headingley pitch you could get snooker cues out and play on it. Now Davies kicks off and Leeds are now going to run it out now. Out of their own defensive part of the ground. They'll want to get on the attack. They'll want to get more points on the board and give themselves that even bigger cushion. Little shimmy there as Leeds are trying, perhaps. They've got to hold the ball for the 6 and then kick and see what happens. And again, the Warrington tacklers are there. Neil Harmon trying to get out. Now here comes George Mann. And George Mann doesn't make much ground as the tacklers again. Kick going to come in. Forshaw turns it inside now, moving it slickly along the line. Iro, and there goes Fallon down that far side. Fallon, and it's in touch. He lets go of the ball, but the touch judge, his flag has already gone up. And although Warrington fullback Lee Penny came up to take the ball, the touch judge, and so we're going to be a scrum down. Somewhat, some 26 or 27 metres from the Warrington line, and Warrington's head and ball going on this side, and it's Foster with it, and he's tackled some 30 metres out.
That was a very good break at the opening of the second half for Leeds there on the right hand side. Davis onto Yestin Harris playing in the centre. I've said so many times, a real star in the making, I think, Yestin Harris. Lee Penny coming in like a forward. But Warrington are 8 points adrift. Will be a little bit aggrieved at that, I think. Having said that, Leeds took the chances very well indeed in the first half. Dave King still going forward, but not too much momentum there. He manages to get the ball away onto Bennett. Bennett making some good yardage. And what Warrington need now is a try right at the start of this second half to keep them in touch, because Leeds are getting stronger, I think. It's always a disadvantage when you play away from home, of course. Shelford. One up in the air by Shelford, going into the space. Taken very well indeed by the try scorer Cook, who really has impressed me tonight, Stan.
And like I said, that was Jim Fallon who made that break. It was Francis Cummins who's come on the field for Jim Fallon. And that's after the crowd had shouted there's only one Jim Fallon just on half-time. And now George Mann trying to get away from the tackler, which he does. Tate into the line. Doesn't make much ground. And Lowe's fans it out to the right-hand side. And again, the Warrington tacklers are there in numbers. Now Lee's tried the other side. Those man shapes inside. Gives it to Kevin Ira. To Cook. And Cook is knocked down. It was Hassan, not Iro, of course. George Mann, unusual attack in halfback. Kick by Tate, hanging in the air, taken by number 2 Jason Lee, but not so much seen of Harris at the moment, Jim.
Not too much at all. Perhaps because he's been playing in the fullback spot in the opening 3 games, I think. He's probably going to get used to being a centre again, but a really excellent player for Warrington, Yestin Harris. And Wyatt in possession again. Leeds in the lead by 14 points to 6. That's Phil Sumner, who really has impressed me tonight. And just as I say, that a commentator's nightmare, he loses the ball and he's back in the arms of Alan Tate.
An unforced error. Tate baits one tackle but can't meets up against Kelly Shelford. and he's tackled that time. Lowe's lungs it out there to number 11, and that's Gary Mercer. Gary Mercer tries to give it to Francis Cummins. His arms are pinned, but now we come up now with a strong burst by Neil Harmon. Taking down Lowe's up. In fact, now Kemp, Schofield, Forshaw, Iro turned back inside. The ball's knocked down, but it goes into touch, and I think this should be head and ball to Warrington. The referee agrees with me. Jim.
And Leeds really are beginning to throw the ball around with abandon, and they're making openings on both sides of the field actually, but unfortunate for Leeds there, the ball went loose. Ball out on the wide side, it's in the arms of Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe brings in Penny immediately. And Penny really does look hungry for possession tonight. That's Paul Cullen. The ball is not yet lost for Warrington. Shelford again. Spins the ball inside to Bruce Maguire, but there's a Leeds reception committee. Mike Forshaw, one of them certainly. Bennett again, on to Sumner. It's Dave King working the blind side, gets the ball away well. And this time it's Sculthorpe scything his way through, trying to get the ball away, but loses possession. But again, it's touched by a Leeds player, or should I say played by a Leeds player. We all know the law of rugby league. And that was the wire number 11, Paul Cullen. But Warrington deep inside Leeds territory. Dave King again, trying to knock holes in this Leeds defence. They're only 5 or 6 yards away from the try line. Bennett at dummy half. Bennett on to Sculthorpe, to Shelford. On this time to Penny. Penny going on his own, spinning round, gives it on to Shelford again. Ball back on this time to Yestin Harris, but the Leeds cover comes across very quickly. And Warrington are finding it difficult to make any ground forward. That's the last tackle. Are we going to see a kick here, or Warrington going to spin this ball? Ball goes loose, eventually in the arms of Bennett. Bennett still going forward. Is Bennett going to score? Yes, I think he is. I don't think the referee's given the try. That was a very good kick, in fact, by Bennett, but Leeds again, in the form of Gary Mercer, come away with the ball.
Yeah, I don't think he got downward pressure on the ball, and according to the referee, he was right on the spot, was Mr. Campbell. Nobody there as Harmon shaped to pass the ball, so he decided to keep it. And now Leeds trying to get an attack going on that far side. In fact, they've lost the ball, and the ball's into touch. Be interested to see what the decision is here. Leeds head and ball, he said it came off Warrington. Warrington player touched it. I think he was going to let play go on as Warrington got the ball, but somehow it went into touch off that Warrington hand. Now Leeds with Kemp. Kemp not made many breaks tonight. Iro down the middle of the field. And there's Iro, he's got Kemp with him. He's not going to use him. He's going to use him on the outside. Kemp now to James Lowe's over for the try. And there's a bit of a scuffle there as after James Lowe's had put the ball down. But that was, I thought that was going to be the same as what happened at Castleford when Iro went 60 yards at Castleford from a Kemp pass, or should I say from a Tate pass. This time it was Kemp. It looked like he was going to go himself, but put the ball out, and James Lowe's scored in the right-hand corner to give Leeds that 18-6 leads. And so Warrington will kick off again. And they badly need possession. They badly need a score to get themselves back in the game now. Ball on the pile of sand, which is now used. Kicks towards the Leeds line. So now it's being run out by Gary Mercer. Gary Mercer makes up to the 20-metre mark, looking for support, and the ball is played this side, and the Leeds come out this side, and it's number 15, Francis Cummins, who's come inside. He's on instead of Jim Fallon. Good bullocking run there by Neil Harmon, playing against his old team, Warrington, and I'm sure Gary Mercer also would like to have a storming game. Nick Fozzard, the young prop in, and Leeds probably giving a better display than they did against Castleford. Kemp, short ball, and Forshaw is down just short of the halfway line. The kick that looked a bit forward to me, but Schofield puts a kick in towards the corner. It's not going to run in, either in touch or in touching goal, and Lee Penny picks it up. But he's one of these bright youngsters who at Great Britain, and it looks so Leeds. Is there going to be a penalty try there? I'm wondering, or just a penalty? It's a penalty try, and he's been awarded to Gary Schofield. Gary Schofield somehow got possession of the ball as he kicked it on. Whether it was a slow play the ball by Warrington, and I'll ask Jim in a moment what he thought of that. But Jim, as Cook takes it, what do you think of that?
Well, I thought that was fair enough, because of course the marker is allowed to kick at the play of the ball. He did do so. The ball went behind the player. Gary Schofield went round to kick again and was tackled without the ball, so I thought that was fair enough, actually. It's the first penalty try I've seen for quite a long time in rugby league.
Cook right in front of the post. Some players seem to think these kicks are more pressure than the ones on the touchline, because they're expected to kick them from in front of the post, whereas perhaps on the touchline the excuse will be given, well, if it just shakes the post, oh, hard luck. So that's 24 points to 6, and Cook adds yet another goal and another point to his tally tonight. So 24 points to 6, and a regular occurrence this half with Davies kicking off once again. And again it'll put Leeds in possession. This time he puts it a bit, tries to put it a bit stronger, but while Kemp does that, turns it inside to Mercer again, and he makes it just short of the 20-metre mark. But it's been a very clean game. Both sides have been wanting to play rugby, and there's Cummins, Jinkin, weaving, trying to get out of the Warrington tacklers, but can't. Now they turn it back inside, and Forshaw, of course, replaced Ellery Hanley, and he doesn't expect to be a second Ellery Hanley. He wants to be a number one Mike Forshaw. At the moment he's having a solid game as far as Leeds are concerned in this particular game. Now Fozzard, that's the 5th tackle, so Leeds will probably put a deep kick into the Warrington half. In fact they don't. In fact it's a poor kick. Now is it a bad, was it go off, was it a knock on? The ball went back anyway. Referee says play on, and Mark Foster, not the best attempt tonight, but he's got possession at least.
At least he managed to keep hold of the ball. This is Jason Lee, still going forward, take it out eventually. And all's gone wrong for Warrington at the start of this second half, with about 13 minutes gone in this half. But that's Bennett. Little move forward there by Bennett. But I don't really think Warrington could complain about that penalty try. I think the referee was right on the spot. It's a pity for Warrington, really. I think they've given a fairly good account of themselves. They've tackled exceptionally well, but they find themselves 24-6 down. It's a kick by Jonathan Davis into space. Is it going to go dead? It's taken eventually by the Leeds fullback Alan Tate to try and clear his line. And Tate's doing exceptionally well. He gets out of the 20, still going. Very difficult to tackle.
Well, that was Alan Tate at his best there. He's running away now. Leeds with number 16 on now, and that's Adrian Morley. I'm just looking to see who's gone off. I've not seen anybody go off, but obviously Leeds with that substitute, so that's Francis Cummins. And of course, with all the comings and goings, it can be that you can lose track. And the attendance tonight, 10,586. Warrington clearing their lines quite adequately at the moment.
That was Paul Sculthorpe, and we've got Foster in the action, coming in like a forward. Andy Bennett switches it inside again to Mike Wainwright. Wainwright moves the ball around, doesn't really go anywhere. Andy Bennett takes the ball again, so 6s and 7s centre field for Warrington at the moment, and it's Mark Jones this time at dummy half onto Shelford. Shelford spinning the ball along. Sculthorpe, Davis onto Foster. Foster held up there very well by Kevin Iro. And Warrington have bravely battled hard tonight. None more than Paul Cullen, of course, one of my favourite players. Wholehearted player, as I always say on every video commentary. A good clubman for the wire. Kelly Shelford, a kick ahead by Shelford. Goes into space. Ball still, in fact I was going to say the ball's lost, but it's back in Leeds' arms, and it's Alan Tate again coming out.
Yes, the Leeds player dived on the ball there very bravely. Now that's how they should do it. If they've got the bravery to do that sort of thing, you can hold the ball. Now Leeds running it out there, and Neil Harmon really having a great game at prop tonight. Number 11, Gary Mercer, are on that far side. Now Leeds with Gary Schofield. Kemp not tried anything outrageous of either Kemp or Schofield tonight. Schofield one or two long passes, not gone off. Now Kemp is going to put a kick and put Warrington back in their own 20-metre area, meaning they've got to come a long way to score if they want to score at the other end.
And a good kick has to be followed by a good chase, and that was a very good chase indeed. And there's Schofield again attempting to kick out at the play of the ball. There's Lee, but you can't really use a right winger as a forward like that and expect to make any ground. Although having said that, there's Foster, the left winger, comes into it. And 24 points to 6 with about 24 minutes to go in this second half, and Warrington really have got a mountain to climb, and that was Sumner. Warrington playing the ball quickly onto Sculthorpe again. Sculthorpe hands it on to Shelford, a long pass this time onto Iestyn Harris. Half break by Harris, but he can't quite keep his footing. But it's going to have to be Lee Penny to do a stint at dummy half. On again to Sculthorpe. It's a good kick by Sculthorpe, although it may have a little bit too much weight on it. Is it going to go into touch? No, it isn't. It's going to have to be played on the try line. And it's a try scorer, of course, Cook, who really did impress me in the opening 40 minutes. Fair turn of speed, and he just manages to break the 20.
Yes, one wondered if that ball was going to go into touch. It didn't. But Tate now taking it into centre field. And he'll be looking for a sport now. Now it's number 17 on now. And that's in Mike Shaw. And Mike Shaw making a break. That goes inside and then outside. And that was a very good break by the youngster. Now here comes Leeds again for Shaw. He's got support, but he goes the other way. This time he gives it back to Shaw, and Shaw up to the 20-metre mark. And this Michael Shaw, signed from Elland, Amateur Rugby League Club. It's number 10, Nick Fozzard. And of course, it's difficult to keep track of these substitutes with 4 different players now. They can only use 4 substitutes 4 times past.
And I think Leeds playing a side that didn't tackle as well as Warrington would score a hatful tonight. They may well yet do so. The Warrington people watching this video will hope they don't. Having said that, Leeds really have come out at the start of this second half, and they've played some excellent rugby league. Some superb handling centre field, and they've used the wings well too. And I think Gary Mercer has had a marvellous 20 minutes in the second half. Mike Wainwright. But Warrington really now short of ideas centre field. That's Iestyn Harris. That's onto Jason Lee. And certainly I'd like to see Jason Lee get in the clear, because he really is a very speedy winger indeed. Jason Lee is going to go into the clear. Still going, but that's going to be a turnover. Not had too many of those tonight. As Leeds play the ball, and it's Schofield eventually onto Iro. And Iro beginning to escape these tackles now, and it's a substitute, Mike Shaw, who had that lovely break a few months ago, and he's tackled there just 2-3 yards inside the Leeds half.
Well, I feel like Warrington probably tiring a little after that exertion of the first half, and it's Tate now making a hard break. Looks to get the ball away and didn't, kept hold of it. He got Kemp up with him, but I think Kemp overran him slightly. Schofield, Neil Harmon. Adrian Morley acting halfback. Leeds switch it to the right-hand side with Kemp. No run around. Kemp breaks a tackle. He's got support, but he keeps it himself. Gets it away. It's picked up. Is it by the ever-present shot? Is it at... can't see who it is. His number obscured from here. But now it's Schofield again. Tries a long ball, trying to miss out man Iro. Iro to Cook. And Cook just puts the ball down for yet another try. And Cook, his second try, and a chance to have the goal points on. Well, I said earlier on, Leeds won the game last season by 30 points to 0. Well, if he gets this, it's 30 points to 6, and with still 20 minutes to play. But I think that the Warrington tackling seems to have gone off, Jim.
But again, ideal conditions for goal kicking tonight, virtually no wind, a beautiful ground. That's going to be a good one, is it? And he's kicked it. So Leeds break the 30 points barrier. Leeds 30 points, Warrington 6.
Marvellous kick there by Paul Cook. He must be happy with his kicking. Of course, he's not the #1 kicker. Graham Holroyd, the #1 kicker, not playing, not had a game yet, still having trouble with the shoulder. And so Warrington and Jonathan Davis in particular to kick off again. Well, the Leeds youngsters on the field now. Adrian Morley, Mike Shaw, these unsung players. And so here comes Warrington to kick off again. And it's taken by Kemp, and he turns it back to his cohort, Gary Mercer again. One sees a lot that teams use the winger sometimes to run it out, but this time Francis Cummins, who is a winger, tries to run it out, but doesn't get too far. Now they're trying to move it, and not making much ground. Could have been forward a short there. The referee, and that's the first forward pass that the referee has adjudged in this game. So Warrington head and ball and chance to get some consolation points on the board.
And I think it is the first forward pass actually, Stan, but that was a good decision from the referee. That certainly was forward. To Wyatt in the 20, almost in the 20, onto Shelford. Shelford uses the narrow side. It's onto Jonathan Davis, who can't get away from Kevin Iro. Tackled him really well. Mark Foster going to go on his own. But again, lack of ideas really from Warrington now, but Foster's still going. Foster would like to get on the score sheet again, I think again tonight. And again it's onto Wainwright, but Warrington have lost the ball again. Leeds come away with it, and it's Gary Mercer who really has had a marvellous second half.
I think there were too many Warrington bodies in the way there, and Leeds gratefully snatched up the loose ball to run it out of their danger area. And they'll be looking to get the ball on now. It's Shaw, and he looks a little live wire, this former Ellen rugby league player. Schofield to Kemp, and Kemp, I remember seeing as a teenager playing for Doncaster, and he seems to have lost none of his enthusiasm for the game years on. And Fozzard drops the ball there, and quite frankly, again, really an unforced error, which means that Warrington have head and ball in the scrum, 10 metres inside their own half, and a chance to get back towards the Leeds try line.
Thanks, Stan. I think there were 3 players there who just didn't have a clue where the ball went, and one of them was in fact Fozzard. And again it's onto Yasin Harris, who's had a very quiet game. Having said that, it's a lovely break from Harris, if he can go up a gear. But a good tackle by the Leeds skipper, Gary Schofield. And it's Lee this time, Lee going on his own. He can't get the ball away. Schofield screaming for the ball there, but Lee really was surrounded by Leeds players. He's onto Kelly Shelford again. Mark Jones running straight. And he's tackled there just 5 or 6 yards outside the Leeds 20. Warrington really would like to have a try now. I think the 2 points have gone begging. I think Shelford again. Long pass taken well by Davis. Davis attempting to release Mark Foster. The ball goes loose again, but it's a knock-on. That will be a scrum down with Leeds head and, in fact, with Warrington's head and ball. Davis really did rather well to even get that ball away from him, but there was a Leeds player just on his left shoulder. He was trying to release the ball onto Mark Foster, who may well have had a clear run to the line. But it's still 30 points to 6 in Leeds' favour. Warrington would like to have a couple of tries now very quickly. I have seen Warrington come back from this, but certainly not at Headingley. Jonathan Davis on his own, put down there by Tony Kemp. Just 10 yards outside the 20. Davis gets up very gingerly indeed. It's onto Shelford. Long pass. Well taken, in fact, by Foster, who doubles back. But there's Neil Harmon. Puts him down. Warrington went back in that movement. Mark Jones again. Finding it difficult to make any ground at all centre field now, the Warrington forwards. Kelly Shelford goes inside the 20. Is he going to spin it along? He is. It's onto Yasin Harris. It's back onto Shelford again. Time it's onto Lee, who loses the ball. Unforced error again. Very sad for Lee. He's rather sorry about that, you can quite imagine. A little bit embarrassed, but it's going to be Leeds head and ball from the scrum.
And the most disgusted player on the field then was Kelly Shelford, whose look on his face could have killed, I think, there. So Leeds on the 20-metre put the ball in. Schofield, now they get it out with Tate. Tate goes on a little run. tries to get away from number 6, Sculthorpe, but Sculthorpe hangs on. But this time Hassan takes it out of immediate danger to put Warrington on the defensive once again. Now here comes number 11, Gary Mercer. He's unceremoniously dumped to the ground. Shaw attacked in half-back. Skoko gives it to Forshaw. And Forshaw. And the game getting a little bit into stalemate. Here comes Neil Harman. Neil Harman releases the ball, and it's gratefully picked up by Dave King, who puts it off, but before he can get into his stride, he's tackled. Now Shelford looking up for Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe with the number 12, Bruce Maguire, and he's put down, but Warrington in a promising position.
Warrington are, and that's Yestin Harris. Can't quite get round his opposite number. I think that was Francis Cummins, in fact, but the Leeds defence are coming out really at pace now. Warrington finding it difficult to handle the ball. Having said that, they play the ball very quickly. That's Shelford. It's onto Harris again. Back onto Shelford. Shelford going on his own, but he's going to be pushed into touch. Going to be pushed into touch. But a good passage of play there for Warrington. They made some good ground forward, but as yet in the second half remained pointless. So from the scrum, it's Leeds head and ball.
Well, Shelford for me has tried might and main to open the Leeds, and I must say little has been seen of Jonathan Davis set to kick off in this game. He's got the head and ball. Now they're trying to move it out, and it's Paul Cook moves it underneath his own post. He's got to run it out with and that's Schofield. He gives it to Tate, and Tate breaks the tackle there, gives it to Hassan. Now the second half now, Leeds are really putting on a bit of pressure. They're leading this one 30 points to 6. Now good break by Shaw. Takes it into the Warrington half. Kemp tacked in half-back. Schofield. Forshaw. Morley passes it straight into the hands of a Warrington player. And that Leeds attack comes to naught, which is Harris. And Harris injured, will have to receive some attention. Will the referee say, move it off? Can you play the ball? Will somebody else come and play the ball?
Going to take a knock in the chest, nothing intentional, I don't think. I think he was probably more surprised than anybody in the field to receive that ball, I think, then. But he certainly took a knock in the chest, and he's looking rather distressed at the moment. Leeds are not looking distressed at all, but Warrington still passing the ball around. And you can see, obviously, Graham Cole on. It's going to be great. Is he going to score for Warrington in his debut in the first team? Good tackle. Very good tackle indeed. But Graham Cole buzzing around there. Looked to me with probably his first touch of the game. He was going to score under the posts. Kick ahead. Bennett's there, and Bennett's still looking for the ball. And Warrington going to score. No, it's football out here. It's association football from what we can see. But that's 6 again. Warrington right on the Leeds line. Maguire going on his own. Going to have to get rid of the ball. He does eventually onto Bennett, but Warrington really would be advised to spin this ball along. It's very, very dangerous using the narrow side. Quite easily going to touch. Onto Shelford again, a long pass. Eventually onto Penny. Penny must release the ball. He does do so. Back to the arms of Davis. A poor pass onto Davis. The ball goes loose. And Davis having a chat there, I think, with Gary Schofield. And Yestin Harris is still winded, I think. He's taken a knock in the chest. Let's hope he's not some kind of a rib injury. Is Yestin Harris going to come off? I think he probably is, to have some attention here on the touchline. We don't like to see any injuries at all. And it's Leeds head and ball inside their own 20.
So another Warrington substitute coming on the far side of the field. Long ball out to Cook now. What can he do? Well, he comes back inside and is met by Kelly Shelford and Bruce Maguire. Two from the Antipodes, shall we say. Now Leeds trying to move it out, and it out of their own danger zone. Fozzard, this youngster who's been given another chance. Shaw, acting halfback. Schofield. Harman. Referee calling the Warrington players back. Schofield is going to put a kick in down to the Warrington left-hand corner flag, but Penny's got to play it, and although he's got the ball, Leeds can now try and keep Warrington penned in their own half of the field.
And that kind of kick from Schofield, a very good kick that it was, really knocks the stuffing out of any side, really, particularly if you're 30 points to 6 down, and Maguire holds his head, hangs his head, really, as he loses the ball. The ball just went under his left arm. So that's going to be Leeds head and ball again in a very promising attacking position. And it looks as if it's, is it Gibbons, I think, now standing at scrum half. So obviously, Gary Schofield in the standoff berth. Leeds still spinning it along. It's on to Tate, back onto Schofield. One inside this time to Iro, who really is now beginning to make his presence felt.
Iro, not on the score sheet yet. Here comes Shaw. He's trying, he's not on the score sheet. But the way he's buzzing, he's trying hard to get onto it. Gibbons attacked in half-back. Schofield. You've got Tate. Tate through the gap. Tate scores. And that was simplicity itself. And it's a rather dispirited Warrington side which make their way back to their own try line and behind it to await the conversion attempt by Leeds. And it's high fives as Alan Tate scores yet another Leeds try for Leeds and send the Leeds supporters into raw raptures. Ball on its way, it's there, so Cook, that's another goal, and that's 36-6. So the 30-point margin, which was attained last season, has been attained this season as well. And it's going to be Lee Penny to kick off. Jonathan Davis on the far side, I think, is limping. So Lee Penny kicks off. And we're taken by Leeds, and they will, as Tate shapes to pass and then runs out to the touchline side, then comes back in, tries to cut back inside. Because he knows if he goes to the touchline, he'll be dragged into touch. Leeds take it up to their 20-metre line. They'll be eager for more points now. And Gary Mercer. 3 Warrington, but Warrington still trying hard, still tackling. Although at times it's paper thin. Now Shaw, oh, what a good. Just managed to get it, Schofield just managed to get his tackle and play on. The supporters want a penalty, but the referee waves play on. Just short of the halfway. That was the 5th one by, as Harman was tackled, so it'd be a kick. Schofield. Kick is knocked down by Cole. Penny tries to put his foot on it, misses it, but he's managed to get back in time to recover.
That's Lee Penny again, and I don't think anybody's tried harder tonight than Lee Penny to get on the score sheet. Had a very good game indeed for Warrington, as I think as Kelly Shelford too, but it must be extremely difficult at the moment to choose a Leeds man of the match. I think Harman's had a particularly good second half, so has Gary Mercer, but my man of the match at the moment would, I think, be Alan Tate, the Leeds fullback, who's done a very good defensive stint and made some very good breaks indeed, and scored that lovely try just a few minutes ago. But Warrington in possession. Cole, his first, I think it's his first team outing, and that's Paul Cullen. And I think Warrington have given a fairly good account of themselves, but certainly at the start of the second half they seem to fall away somewhat, and they've had to tackle the hearts out. Mike Wainwright, good break by Wainwright, eventually taken out by Hassan. The ball goes loose, back in the arms of Leeds. And really, that's been the story of Warrington tonight. They've lost the ball on so many occasions in really good positions. Alan Tate, as I was describing before, running across the field, still trying to get away, gets the ball back onto Iro. Iro this time running straight. Going to be difficult to put to ground. Still going is Kevin Iro. Spins the ball beautifully there. And Iro gets the ball back. Still going Iro, finding it hard to give the ball, to give the microphone to Stan here at the moment. As Shaw comes around, still going forward. What a beautiful break! And that certainly deserved a try. And it's going to be Schofield who will score. An absolutely superb try for Leeds. Really made, I think, by crossfield run from Alan Tate, who slid the ball back into Kevin Iro. It was so difficult to put down. Iro eventually passed the ball inside. A lovely break from Shaw, eventually onto Schofield, who scored about 15 yards to the right of the post. That to me is the try of the evening.
I think persistence by Iro in that move there kept the ball alive, and I think the Warrington seemed to be frustrated in their efforts to try and get a tackle in. Whenever he seemed to be pinned back, he was able to break it somehow and keep the ball moving. And Schofield touchdown, his second try, the first one being a penalty try, of course. And one feared the worst when Warrington led 8-6 after 24 minutes, but Leeds, I think the killer came just on half-time when James Lowe went over a try, just on the interval, or Cook, I should say, scored just on the interval and then converted it himself. Leeds now trying to run it out. Bit of rolling on there, the referee says Leeds have got the ball, let them play it. Tate trying to get through the gap. Leeds now hungry for tries now. Neil Harmon has had a very solid game at prop, as has Fozzard on the other side of the scrum. And it's Fozzard with the ball now, and he knocks Warrington players off, and he's pushed towards the touchline and goes into touch, just into the Warrington half. So it'll be a little altercation between players. The referee, I don't think there's anything serious in there, but perhaps Fozzard not happy about being pushed into the touch. The two offending players, or the two players concerned, are going to have a little chat. In fact, looks like Forshaw to me. Being chatted to by the referee, and number 6, Paul Sculthorpe. But it's Warrington head and ball, and a chance to get consolation points, Jim.
Yeah, that's, I think, really the first altercation we've had tonight. It's probably just Gary Mercer making acquaintances again with some of his old Warrington colleagues. But the referee, I think, very often the unsung heroes of rugby league, has had a very good game tonight indeed. Been very clear with his decisions. And that's a lovely break coming in from Lee Penny. Lee Penny should keep going. Lee Penny lost a few yards there. He's looking around for support. Good break by Lee Penny. And I think he's had a very good game for Warrington tonight. And that's the wire number 15. That's Ian Knott. So Warrington have used all the substitutes tonight, and it's good to see some of the young players that Warrington have in the A-team and academy side being used in the first team. And Mike Wainwright loses that ball as Lee Penny would love to put the ball down over the line for a try, but he can't do that. That's again going to be another scrum. We're still waiting for the Leeds man of the match. I've not heard it yet as to who is going to be chosen man of the match. Of course, it may well be this man, Paul Cook, who had the opening break of the game after about 3 minutes. And I think he signalled then what he was going to do later on, and he scored 20 points. He scored 2 tries and 6 goals, and here's Gary Schofield, now playing in his more accustomed position, I think, in the stand-up berth. Alan Tate, who for me has been the pick of the Leeds players, particularly in this second half.
Leeds running it away now, playing out the dying moments of this game. 40 points to 6. The 2 points is coming to their first home game of the season, and their first home victory, of course. 8-6 down at one stage, but they didn't panic, they didn't get flustered, and there goes the hooter. So Leeds win this one, their opening game at Headingley, by 40 points to 6. They were leading 14-6 at half-time, but in the second half it was all Leeds. Tries, Schofield got 2 second half tries, Cook got a second one in the second half, Tate a try, and Cook 3 goals. Cook finished off with 6 goals and 2 tries. He, for me, is my man of the match, if only for that. But both teams, a credit to rugby league. Both sides have played rugby as it should be played. And although Warrington have been by 40.6, they never gave up. But I think they're tired in the engine.
I think you're quite right there, Stan. I think Leeds are deserved winners, particularly second half. A marvellous performance in the second half by Leeds. They really threw the ball around with abandon, and Warrington were chasing shadows, I think, certainly for most of the second half. Having said that, Warrington gave a fairly good account of themselves, particularly in the first 40 minutes, and as Stan said, with 24 minutes gone, we're leading by 8 points to 6. but certainly the best winner of all is rugby league, because it's been an open game, it's been a very, very fair game. The tackling has been hard, but for the most part fair. And let's also mention the referee, Mr. Campbell, who wasn't too much in evidence tonight. That's always a sign of a good game and a very good referee indeed. A marvellous game here. I've enjoyed commentating with you, Stan. I'm sure it's the first of many commentaries we'll do together, and I'd love to welcome you back to Warrington later on in the season, where we can commentate again, and I hope Warrington turn the tables on Leeds. But a marvellous game tonight here at Headingley on a really superb pitch. The final score, Leeds 40 points, Warrington 6.
Paul, a tremendous game for Leeds tonight, and also a tremendous game for you. 6 goals and 2 tries.
Yeah, well, like I said, so I've just been talking to the Leeds line, and he picked the team yesterday, and he put me on the wing instead of Francis Cummins on the bench. Me and Francis Cummins best of mates, so he's a great player, he's a great pair of boots to fill. He's a young lad like me. We're both enthusiastic, so we're both going to try and get the game going. So he put me on the wing tonight. I've come on, took it to both fans. All my family's been very supportive. They've rang me up all day when we're having a bit of nerves and that. They've all said, take it to both fans, have a great game. Like I did tonight, I come on, scored my first try, and then scored my second try, and then kicked the goals. And goals are just bonuses, really. It's better if you score a 6-point try than a 4-point try.
Well, your confidence must have been boosted sky high. First few seconds of the game, you made a superb break.
Yeah, well, Hugh McGann told me when you come in off your line, when you're coming from your own line, just use your side step, lift your chin up and go. I made a break, and unfortunately the wind come, there was no support, so all I had to do was pin my ears back and go.
And what about the first try?
Well, the first try, all I can remember is the kick to the corner. When the kick to the opposite corner, all you've got to do is come across. And anyway, Jim Fallon made a break. He started going down the wing. I started running up the other wing, and then all of a sudden he started coming across. I saw my winger was chasing across to him, so he started coming across, and then he just threw a ball out for nowhere. I picked it up, and it was a race to the corner with Warrington full-back Lee Penny, and I got there just in time with him.
And your second try?
Well, Gary Schofield, Tony Kemp had a great game. They brought the ball out, give it to Phillisan. Phillisan sidestepped, the winger had to come, and then he just popped the ball, and I went in the corner again.
And 6 goals, 2 of them tremendous ones from the touchline.
Well, yeah, me, Francis Cummins, Graham Allroy, we're the kickers at the club. Was out all yesterday, was out for a good hour and a half before the training session, and I didn't miss too many yesterday, so it's always better to get off on a good note at training, get some goals under your belt, and then bring it into the game like I did tonight.
Even the experienced kickers, though, say the shots under the posts are the ones with more pressure, because you're expected to kick those.
Well, that's always my worst nightmare. The ones with 10 yards away from the post to have a touchline. Touchline's the ones are right, but the ones near the post, you're more nervous about them. But like Hugh McGann said, he texts us out goal kicking it before every session, and he just says strike the ball what you would like from the touchline, and it's worked tonight.
Well, Paul, I hope the goal kicking and the try scoring continues. Certainly the Leeds team and their supporters will hope so.
I hope so very much.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.